Ariana walked into the car dealership with calm steps, even though the air felt heavy and sticky from the heat. It was a busy Saturday afternoon. People sat on plastic chairs, salesmen talked loudly, and phones rang non-stop. Ariana wiped her hands on her dress and smiled to herself. She was here to pick up her car after a simple service. Nothing special. Just another small task in her day. She walked to the front desk and said her name softly. The receptionist looked up and froze. Her fingers stopped moving on the keyboard. Her smile disappeared. For a second, she just stared at Ariana as if she had seen a ghost. Then she stood up quickly and said, "One moment, please," in a shaky voice. Ariana frowned but stayed quiet. Within seconds, a tall man in a dark shirt came out from a glass office. His face was polite, but his eyes were tense. He walked straight toward her and held out his hand. "Mrs. Cole," he said carefully. "I'm Daniel Reeves, the manager." Before Ariana could reply, he added almost gently, "May I ask you something?" She nodded, confused. "Did you authorize the sale of your vehicle yesterday?" For a second, Ariana laughed. A small, awkward laugh. "No," she said. "That must be a mistake. I'm just here to collect it." Daniel did not smile. He slowly placed a paper on the counter and slid it toward her. It was a sales agreement. Her eyes moved down the page and stopped at the signature. It looked like Marcus's. Her stomach dropped. "I don't understand," she whispered. "I'm afraid the car was sold yesterday afternoon," Daniel said quietly. "It has already left the lot." The noise around her suddenly felt too loud. Someone laughed nearby. A phone rang again. Ariana felt her chest tighten. Not because of the car, but because this feeling was familiar. This shock. This quiet crossing of a line that was never supposed to be crossed. She felt heat rise to her face as she noticed people glancing at her. Curious. Watching. Daniel hesitated, then leaned closer. His voice lowered. "There's something else you should know before you leave." Ariana slowly sat down on the chair beside her. Her hands were shaking, but she folded them neatly in her lap. Her face stayed calm. Whatever this was, she knew one thing for sure. This was never just about a car. Ariana thought to herself that she wasn't always this quiet. There was a time when she spoke freely, laughed loudly, and trusted her own decisions. She used to believe in herself. She had plans, dreams, and a strong sense of direction. Back then, she handled her money carefully and proudly. She knew where every dollar went. She didn't wait for permission. The car was proof of that time in her life. Years ago, she bought it with her own savings. Marcus was still building his business then, as he liked to say. Ariana believed in him. She worked extra hours, skipped small pleasures, and paid for things without complaining. The car was not expensive or fancy, but it was hers. She signed the papers. She made the payments. It gave her freedom to drive anywhere, anytime, without asking anyone. After marriage, things slowly changed. Marcus liked to call himself the provider. He said it proudly, often in front of others. People believed him. Ariana didn't correct them. What they didn't see was how often she quietly paid the bills when his income fell short. Rent, groceries, emergencies, she handled them silently. Marcus made decisions on his own. Big ones. He rarely asked her opinion. When she tried to speak up, he smiled and said, "I'm doing this for us." That sentence ended many conversations. At first, Ariana thought that was love. Over time, it started to feel like control. Marcus chose what they spent, where they went, and what mattered. Ariana learned to adjust, to explain less, to agree more. Every time she felt uncomfortable, she told herself it was normal. That marriage required compromise. Nina made sure of that. "You have to sacrifice," Nina would say. "You're lucky Marcus chose you. A good wife keeps peace." Those words stayed with Ariana. Slowly, she became quieter. She stopped arguing. She stopped questioning. Silence felt easier than conflict. It felt safer. But something inside her never fully disappeared. Lately, Ariana had been feeling restless. Small moments made her pause. She noticed how often her name was missing from decisions that affected her life. She noticed how tired she felt, emotionally, not physically. She began to ask herself questions she had avoided for years. She also started saving money again. Quietly, carefully. Not because she planned to leave, but because it felt right to have something that was only hers. Then the car was sold. That moment at the dealership didn't just shock her, it woke her up. The car had never been about comfort or status. It was about independence. About the woman she used to be. About knowing she had a say in her own life. Now, that part of her had been taken without her consent. As Ariana sat there, she understood something clearly for the first time. This wasn't just a mistake. It felt like a warning. Or maybe a challenge. Marcus claimed Ariana was unavailable, Daniel said, his voice careful. He explained everything slowly, as if he didn't want to hurt her more than necessary. Marcus had told them she was out of town. He said she was too busy to come in or answer calls. He insisted the sale had to happen quickly. He pushed hard, negotiated sharply, and made it sound urgent, like a family emergency. Ariana listened without interrupting. Her face stayed still, but her thoughts were racing. Daniel then paused and looked at her directly. "There's something important you need to understand," he said. The title of the car wasn't in his name. Her heart skipped. "The car is registered only under your name, Mrs. Cole," he continued. "Your husband spoke on your behalf, but legally, he had no authority to sell it." The words hit her harder than she expected. That meant this wasn't a simple mistake. It wasn't confusion or miscommunication. Marcus hadn't misunderstood anything. He knew exactly what he was doing. He had chosen to act without her, to speak for her, and to take something that was not his to give away. Ariana thanked Daniel quietly and walked out of the dealership. The sun felt too bright. Her hands were cold even in the heat. With every step, a new thought formed in her mind. This wasn't about money. This was about control. When she got home, Marcus was on the couch, relaxed, smiling at his phone. Shopping bags sat near his feet. He looked pleased, satisfied, as if everything was normal. Ariana stood in front of him and spoke calmly. "Did you sell my car?" Marcus looked up, surprised for only a second. Then his face hardened. "Yes," he said. "I did what needed to be done." She asked quietly, "Why?" That was when he exploded. He stood up, his voice rising. He accused her of being ungrateful. He said she never appreciated his efforts. He reminded her of everything he believed he had done for the family. Then he said the words that made everything clear. "It was my right," he said. "I'm your husband." Ariana felt the familiar urge to cry, to apologize, to make things smooth again. But this time she didn't. She stood still and looked at him. She asked one simple question. "Why didn't you ask me?" Marcus opened his mouth to answer, but nothing came out. He looked away, then back at her, frustrated. He blamed stress. He blamed pressure. He blamed circumstances. But he never answered the question. In that silence, Ariana felt something shift inside her. For the first time, she saw the truth clearly. This wasn't love protecting her. This was power being taken from her. And for the first time in a long while, Ariana didn't step back. Marcus refuses accountability. He does not apologize. He does not admit he was wrong. Instead, he repeats the same words again and again. He says he did it for the family. He says Ariana is overreacting. He says she should trust him more. Every time she tries to explain how hurt she feels, he turns it into an argument about respect and loyalty. According to him, questioning him means disrespect. Nina supports him completely. She calls Ariana the next day, her voice sharp and disappointed. She says Ariana should be thankful she has a husband who takes responsibility. She says selling a car is not a big issue in marriage. She reminds Ariana that a wife should not embarrass her husband by challenging him. "You're making problems where there are none," Nina says. "This is why marriages fail." Ariana listens in silence. She feels alone in a way she has never felt before. No one asks how she feels. No one wants to hear her side. Her feelings are brushed aside like they don't matter. When she becomes quiet, they take it as agreement. When she becomes distant, they call her cold. At night, Ariana lies awake and starts noticing things she once ignored. She looks through old bank messages and statements. Numbers don't add up. There are withdrawals she doesn't remember approving. She finds records of small loans taken in her name. Loans she never discussed. She sees accounts she barely recognizes. Assets she thought were untouched now used as security. Each discovery makes her stomach tighten. These are not accidents. Memories return to her. Moments she once brushed off. Times Marcus rushed her to sign papers. Times he said, "It's just formal." Or "Don't worry, I've handled it." Moments when she felt unsure but stayed quiet to avoid conflict. She remembers how often she chose peace over clarity. Now that silence feels heavy, Ariana struggles inside. One part of her feels guilty. She asks herself if she is being dramatic. She wonders if this is what marriage really means. Giving up control, trusting blindly. Another part of her feels clear, awake, and uncomfortable in a new way. That part whispers that something is wrong. That love should not feel like this. Then Daniel calls. His voice is calm but concerned. He tells her he wanted to check on her. He says he has seen similar situations before. Husbands, wives, partners taking control without consent. "This happens more than you think," he says gently. But not everyone chooses to see it. Those words stay with Ariana long after the call ends. A few days later, she sits in a quiet office across from attorney Leah Morgan. Her hands are folded tightly in her lap as she explains everything. The car, the accounts, the papers. Leah listens without interrupting. She asks clear questions. She doesn't judge. She doesn't rush. Then she explains the truth. Marcus does not legally control many of the things he claims to. Several assets are either in Ariana's name or require her consent. Some of the decisions he made have no legal standing at all. The car sale, especially, was not valid. Ariana feels something strange, relief mixed with shock. "So I wasn't powerless?" she asks softly. Leah shakes her head. "No," she says. "You were kept uninformed." That sentence changes everything. Ariana walks out of the office feeling different. Not angry. Not loud. Just aware. She understands now that her silence was never agreement. It was something Marcus used to his advantage. The power was never taken from her completely. It was hidden from her, one decision at a time. For the first time in years, Ariana feels steady. She is no longer confused. And she knows this is only the beginning. Marcus storms into the dealership demanding the money. His voice is loud, sharp, and full of anger. Customers turn to look. Sales staff freeze. He slams his hand on the counter and says the sale was final. He says the money belongs to him and needs to be released immediately. His confidence fills the room, like he expects everyone to obey him. Daniel steps forward, calm but firm. He asks Marcus to lower his voice. Marcus refuses. He repeats that he is the husband and that the car was sold legally. He demands respect. Then Ariana walks in. She moves quietly, her face calm, her step steady. She is not angry. She is not afraid. She holds a folder close to her chest. Some people recognize her from before and whisper softly. Marcus turns and sees her. For a moment he looks surprised. Then his face hardens. "What are you doing here?" he snaps. Ariana does not answer him. She walks to Daniel and hands him the folder. Daniel opens it and nods. He turns to Marcus and speaks clearly so everyone can hear. "The sale has been reversed," he says. "The funds are frozen. This transaction was not legal." Marcus laughs, but it sounds forced. "That's impossible," he says. "I signed everything." Daniel shakes his head. "You did not have the authority to sell the vehicle." At that moment, Leah steps forward. She introduces herself calmly as Ariana's attorney. She explains that the car was registered only in Ariana's name, and that verbal consent does not replace legal ownership. The law is clear. The money cannot be released to Marcus. Marcus's face turns red. He argues. He shouts. He accuses Ariana of betrayal. He says she is trying to ruin him. Then Leah opens another document. "There's more," she says. She explains that the house Marcus often boasts about, the one he claims proves his success, is not legally his. It is registered under a trust in Ariana's name, set up years ago, quietly, legally, completely valid. The room goes silent. Marcus stares at the papers as if they are written in another language. His anger fades, replaced by confusion, then fear. He looks at Ariana, searching her face for answers, for control, for something familiar. He finds none. For the first time, he understands the truth. He never owned the power he thought he had. He only used Ariana's silence to feel strong. His voice lowers. His hands shake. Ariana finally speaks. Her voice is calm, clear, strong. "You thought silence meant surrender," she says. "It didn't." Marcus has no response. Ariana turns and walks out of the dealership, her head held high. She does not look back. The power has shifted, and everyone in the room feels it. Ariana moves out temporarily by choice. She packs only what she needs, and leaves the rest behind. There is no shouting, no drama. She simply decides she needs space to think and breathe. For the first time in a long while, the decision is fully hers. She stays in a small, quiet place where no one questions her movements or her choices. Soon after, the legal separation begins. The process is slow and sometimes tiring, but Ariana feels steady. She listens carefully, asks questions, and understands her rights. She no longer signs anything without reading it. Each step gives her a little more confidence. Healing does not happen overnight. Ariana starts therapy. At first, talking feels strange. Words come out slowly. But session by session, she learns to name her feelings. She learns that her silence was a survival skill, not a weakness. She learns that control can hide behind kindness. Most importantly, she learns that her voice matters. She begins to rebuild her daily routines. Simple things bring comfort. Morning walks, cooking meals she enjoys, sleeping without tension in her chest. She starts driving her car again. The first time she turns the key, she pauses. The engine starts smoothly. The moment is quiet, but it means everything. She is moving forward, on her own terms. Marcus faces the consequences of his actions. People begin to ask questions. His confidence fades as the truth comes out. He is forced to take responsibility for decisions he once hid behind authority. There is no public revenge, no shouting victory. Just accountability. Just reality. Ariana does not watch his fall closely. She is too busy building herself back up. Slowly, she learns to speak again. Not loudly, not angrily, but clearly. When something feels wrong, she says it. When she needs time, she asks for it. When she says no, she does not explain herself. Each small moment strengthens her. She reconnects with the person she once was, the woman who trusted her instincts, who believed in her worth. She understands now that love should not silence you. Partnership should not erase you. Ariana is still healing, still learning, but she is no longer afraid. Her life feels lighter, more honest. She knows she does not need permission to exist fully. For the first time in years, Ariana hears her own voice clearly. And she listens. Ariana parks her car at sunrise near the ocean. The sky is soft with light, painted in pale orange and pink. The world feels quiet, as if it is just beginning. She turns off the engine and sits still, both hands resting on the steering wheel. She breathes in slowly. The sound of the waves reaches her through the open window. It is calm and steady. Nothing is rushing her. No one is waiting for an answer. For the first time in a long while, she feels present in her own life. She thinks about everything that happened. The car. The lies. The silence she once believed was love. She remembers how small she felt when her choices were taken from her. How often she doubted herself. How easily she accepted less than she deserved. Now she understands something important. Freedom did not come from leaving a house or a marriage. It did not come from winning an argument or proving someone wrong. It came from knowing the truth, from seeing things clearly, and choosing herself without fear or guilt. She looks out at the ocean. The waves move forward without asking permission. They don't explain themselves. They don't stop because someone tells them to. They simply exist, strong and calm. Ariana smiles softly. She knows she still has a journey ahead. Healing takes time. Growth takes patience. But she is no longer lost. She trusts herself now. She trusts her voice, even when it is quiet. She opens the door and steps out of the car. The cool morning air touches her skin. She stands there for a moment, watching the sun rise higher, feeling steady and free. Some things don't need permission. Only courage. Hi besties Yellowheart. Thank you so much for watching till the end. If this story touched you, please like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe for more powerful stories. See you in the next one. By waving hand.